Alright, so before you start just assuming that 2K like buttered up everybody at their annual community event for good reviews, take a moment to check out the developer Scott O'Gallagher's blog about the gameplay changes, AI adjustments, because with the prelude just being like a week away, there's only so much that can be told about the gameplay that hasn't been told already. Your chance to play the game and see for yourself is basically right around the corner, and all the developers at 2K made a concerted effort to show and stress how much they've revamped the foundation of literally everything, from shooting to AI and the triggering of animations where and when, and basically everything that the dev crew did to try to make the game feel more fun rather than infuriating. There's a long read, but I suggest you get so to the way because it will likely answer a lot of questions that you already have about the game, and these are just my impressions of playing the game in the short time period that we were there. The game does flat out feel different, and you'll notice it the moment that you play it for the first time, but if the one word to describe 2K17's gameplay was infuriating, then the word to describe 2K18 so far would be fun. But then again, we all think 2K is usually excellent when it first comes out, and then give it like a week, maybe even a day, depending on how much you're binging the game, and your whole mindset changes. Now, the first thing you'll immediately notice when you first play the game is the pace, I think. The game itself will just feel different to a lot of you, and you probably won't be able to explain why or how at first. I personally think it's due to the smoother pace and how the players and the game itself flows. It's no longer as cut and dry as bring the ball up the court and avoid all the anticipated animations that might happen, like being bumped and pushed off all the way to half court until you get some dumbass backcourt violation. Everything that happens in the game is now done in the moment instead of a bunch of pre-packaged animations that you can see happening before they even happen. And also, you remember that infamous thing known as the little man syndrome, where anyone under 6 feet would just be automatically trash in the game? That is unless 2K just gave all their animations the sauce, like Nate Archibald. Or maybe when you felt like a momentum run happening in 2K17, and no matter how badly you got hammered on driving to the rim, there was like no call whatsoever and your opponent got some dumb down-court pass that makes no sense and then score in the next 5 seconds. I think you'll feel a difference on those fronts because of foul consistency now, and mainly when driving to the rim, because charge calls on the sideline are still a little give and take for the people that are really good at trolling and timing you running into them. However, there's not much of a reason to feel as scared going to the rim anymore, I think. If contact is triggered by the opposing player, you'll likely get the fall, and with the addition of these new jelly layups, you really have most of the power to control all of your finishes. And also, per Mike Wang, bad timing on layups will no longer penalize, aka lower your chances of finishing. However, good timing on layups will increase the chances of finishing. In other words, if you're trash, then you're kinda getting babied in a sense, but if you're good, a finishing my player might be the move for you. Now lastly, as a disclaimer, this was something that I noticed with the game on Superstar difficulty, but before I tell you what happened, I have to say that the shooting this year feels more fair than last year, and just being fair is a huge improvement actually, because at most points last year, if a shot wasn't a perfect release, I would just hold my breath and pray when it's up in the air. Even if it was a green release, honestly, I've missed quite a few of those too. This year, the shot quality feedback gives you a better idea of what a good shot is and what a bad shot is, and you'd be surprised which are which, honestly. Now, the shot feedback tells you more specifically on how contested the shot taken was. For example, wide open, open, slightly contested, and heavily contested. If the shooting consistency remains bearable throughout the year, that's actually a small but incredibly helpful tool to utilize, because you're just getting a better idea of what kind of shots are makeable with the player that you're using, and I think that just makes you smarter, I think anyway. Alright, so, I was watching a friendly slap bet game between Troydan Gaming and Mike Korzemba. It's a 1-point game, Mike's ball, and he comes down court with the Goatbrook, but because he's already got a clean 30 piece with Westbrook, Troydan forces him to go to somebody else. So Mike gives the ball to PG, calls for a screen at the top of the key, and then coming off the screen pulls up for a pretty contested mid-range, I would say, but the shot results in heavily contested feedback. However, it gets a perfect release and it falls. My brain didn't even know how to process this black magic shit at first. Bad shots will go in on lower difficulties, we know that, but this was one level below that eternal troll Hall of Fame difficulty. Mind you, it was only one shot, but it told me a fair bit that shot quality and release quality are two separate things that contribute to shot success. Obviously, the former of the two will likely mean more, but it's somewhat comforting to see that one factor isn't the end-all be-all. If you're familiar with either of those guys too, I think you should definitely check out that video version of the game when it drops, because someone does get slapped in there. But like I said, the demo release date is like right around the corner, so you'll be able to sit for yourself, play for yourself, and have your own opinion. I actually didn't even get too much time to play the game itself because I was trying to learn about everything about each mode, like my team. And there were so many people that were trying to play that it was rough to do everything at once, record gameplay, play the game, get to meet the people in the room. It was quite an experience. The next video is the vlog, so you guys will get to see all of that. If you haven't seen these clips yet of just badges and how you're going to get them, all of this is out there by now. You guys can find out everything you want to about every mode at this point. I would just say enjoy your free time for the next like week or two, because we all know that time of year is coming where you just don't talk to nobody no more. Like you just on 2K for a solid week.